Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. It's Football at 4.
Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Of course, the latest edition dropped yesterday morning. And joining us right now on a Tuesday edition is Adam Caplan, NFL insider. He is on his Caplan camp tour. He is currently in California as he works through the entire NFL. We'll get into the latest from Eagles camp as well as Adam's latest observations from multiple teams he has hit up so far. And he joins us right now here on the Sports Bash. Adam, how you doing today?
Josh, I'm well. Hope you're doing well back there in New Jersey. So, yeah, I am at Chargers camp for the second straight day. Practice just ended about an hour ago. We're in Costa Mesa, California, Jack Emmett Park. And we were actually, which is interesting, 15 minutes from the Rams practicing at Cal Irvine. So, yeah, it's here we are. We've got football. It's kind of odd. It's just in a park that I know they play soccer here in the fall. And the Chargers, since they moved to Los Angeles, have overtaken this park for the summer. And today there were no fans here. Fans have been, though. They were here yesterday, and it was pretty crowded. But today, just the media watching the Chargers practice.
So before we get to anything else, you mentioned the Chargers. I want to ask you real quick about them because you're right there on the ground. There's a lot of expectations around that team. You got a lot of people. They're picking them to win the West. They're picking them as a potential Super Bowl contender. What are your thoughts on a team with that many expectations around them?
Yeah, look, I was talking to someone with the Chargers about that yesterday, and also I talked to the general manager, Tom Telesco, today. The bottom line, with you look at the Chargers, it's a talented team that offensively is terrific. The Eagles know that. Though the Eagles kept the game close, the final score is really not indicative of how much the Chargers dominated on offense. I think the Chargers only won by 3. But remember, the Chargers moved the ball at will. Herbert was terrific last year, and he's an incredibly talented young quarterback who's going to get paid big time next year. Probably will be at least $50 million a year when those deals get done next year, most likely if they get done next year. Joe Burrow and Herbert, two of the young guns of the league. But, yeah, the expectations are bigger here because the Chargers, they added a lot of talent on defense, all 3 levels, kind of like the Eagles did, not quite to as many players as the Eagles signed, but they added some badly needed help on defense. So it's a tough division, and they're certainly going to compete for, at a minimum, of a wild card spot. And don't forget, Josh, last year, the final game of the season came down to the Raiders and Chargers.
Yep.
And the Raiders were able to win. Shockingly, the Raiders were able to win, and they got in, and the Chargers were out.
The other part of this is, talk to me about the defense, because Brandon Staley is a defensive guy coming in to this organization now in his second year as the head coach. What are the expectations for a defense that made some pretty big money additions? Yeah,
and by the way, the Eagles were interested in Brandon Staley heading into that the head coaching search for 2 years ago, but the Chargers jumped on him quickly and hired him. So they feel better about the talent. Based on what I understand about their situation here, they wanted to kind of retool the defense a little bit. They're going to have at least 4 new starters. Where they're kind of set on offense, the right tackle position is the only issue. The issue for the Chargers is, you're right, it's clearly on defense, where there were some games where they were not competitive, which was shocking to me that they played that poorly. And Brent Staley wanted them to add size and athleticism and experience. They brought in Kyle Van Noy, who's won multiple Super Bowls with the Patriots. At least one I know of. But anyway, the guy's won a lot of games in his career, made a lot of money in the twilight of it. Khalil Mack, who Staley coached for 1 year with the Bears when he was on defensive coach there. And Sebastian Joseph Day, who played for the Rams across town here. A Super Bowl winner on defensive line. So, and J.C. Jackson, of course, who's big-time talent, got paid big. Bryce Callahan, who knows Brandon Staley, who knows the defense. He'll probably be their third corner, their nickel corner. So, yeah, they addressed it. They've addressed all 3 levels of their defense. And quite frankly, when you look at this division, it's good that they did, because this division, the AFC West, is by far the best, and it's going to be tough.
Adam, we mentioned the Eagles a little bit earlier. Let's hit on them. We have a lot of Eagle fans wanting to know the latest on the Eagles. They got the pads on today, and it looks like Jalen Hurts is starting to put this thing together here in training camp.
Yeah, based on, Josh, multiple people I spoke to who were at practice today, it wasn't just that it was Jalen Hurts' best practice. he was comfortable. He wasn't rushed. Maybe it was because the pads were on. Who knows? Not that you can't hit the quarterback. Just to be clear, you can never hit the quarterback no matter what you do in practice. And all year you can't hit him. But it just the competition was ratcheted up. And I'm going to use a quote from Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, who said that he was asked about putting the pads on for the first time this week. He said, now the competition and evaluation begins. So that's what, if you want to know what this means for coaches, it's just there's something about putting pads on. Even though teams really don't practice, they don't tackle anymore. There's some physicality for sure, but there's no live tackling 11 on 11. There might be in certain drills, teams will practice tackling in terms of individual work, but no live tackling in team. This today is about as good as you're going to get. Now, I don't know how long this practice was. I'll look into that. But the practice out here, what surprised me, Josh? The Rams, people say the Eagles are taking after the Rams. Yeah, the Rams don't hit at all. But their practice yesterday is 2.5 hours, and I was told no practice for them will be less than an hour and a half. And some are, as I just said, were 2.5 hours, and that's kind of surprised me.
Yeah, you mentioned how the Eagles, they take some cues from the Rams. You and Jeff have talked about in the Inside the Birds podcast about Ted Rath coming from the Rams over. Well, the Eagles' practice schedule after pads today, it lightens up a little bit here.
Yeah, so tomorrow, and I understand you can't have 4 straight practices. You have the most you can practice is real practice is 4 days in a row. Then you have to have a walkthrough or a day off. So yeah, here we go. The Eagles were in pads today. What are they doing? They're having a walkthrough tomorrow. Practice Thursday. I should be there. I'm taking a red eye back. I plan on being there, and then Friday they're off. It is kind of weird during the week because typically teams that have a Sunday off. For years, but they changed it now in the new CBA. Teams that, Josh, take a Sunday off and one day during the week. Now it could be any days. It doesn't have to be Sunday anymore. Some teams practice on Sunday. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, here we go. They have a hard practice. Tomorrow's a walkthrough. Now, the Eagles do have what are called speed walkthroughs. I saw this last week. We were able to, after the regular practice was over, they had a speed walkthrough for 10 minutes. You could do that. I mean, they're allowed to do that. But the fact of the matter is, tomorrow will be a walkthrough. Whether it's half an hour, an hour, we're not sure. But we'll get a little bit more further word for you when I'm back with you on Friday. What kind of walkthrough it is.
I'm just hoping you have a better airplane situation than Mike Gill has been having, trying to get back.
Yeah, I heard. I had a knock on wood. Yeah, I know leaving the country is dicey these days, but no, flying here to LA was a great flight. And I'm hoping the key obviously is to take nonstops. That's
right.
That is the goal. We know, going overseas, it's very hard to do that. But man, if you could just take nonstops anywhere, it's actually worth the expense because who wants to be aggravated all the time flying? I certainly don't.
No, definitely. No one wants that aggravation. One more thing on the Eagles camp I want to ask you about before we get to the rest of your training camp stops, Adam. Jalen Reagor flashing against the second team with the first team offense. Now, you know how Philly fans are. Some of them are rolling their eyes, and some of them are crossing their fingers. What do you say to them?
Yeah, it is true. He definitely did well today, but it's just a single practice. It was not. He did work with the first team because Quez Watkins, he got Watkins work. Watkins left practice, then came back with an illness. But the fact of the matter is, he got some work with the ones against the Eagles twos, and he did well. That's a good thing. And any positivity, him stacking up practices is good. And by the way, the one issue which he's had is when he's gone up against the ones earlier in camp with the physicality of the Eagles corners, who are obviously top notch. And the other thing is about these corners is we would talk about Steven Nelson last year. He's smaller, he's feisty, competitive, but not explosive and fast. You bring in a guy, James Bradbury, who's been a Pro Bowler before and is really talented. I understand he wasn't comfortable with the last defense that the Giants used. Well, he's been very comfortable here, and I'm very interested. I don't know that he's going to play in the preseason. I'm interested, Josh, the first couple weeks of the regular season, how comfortable he is with what they're going to do this year on defense. Because, look, they're not going to be so static with coverages this year. Because last year they played the most zone defense for the first half. That changed. They upped their man coverage. So we're very interested to see what they do in the regular season with coverages.
NFL insider Adam Caplan joining us here, Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast and all the Eagles training camp coverage over at InsideTheBirds.com, at Caplan NFL on Twitter. Adam, you are on your camp tour. Let's keep it in the NFC East. the New York Giants, Brian Daboll, new offense. What have you seen?
Yeah, I was there last week and just talking to them. We have to understand they put in a completely new offense, completely new defense, new coaches, also new front office. So it's going to take a while. It's going to take several weeks for it to look like they won it. And, I get the beat reporters are there. They've seen this before because they've changed so much, but it's completely different. The mindset's different. They're going to be in passing offense, not a running offense under Brian Daboll. So if you're a Giants fan listening to us, and we know that South Jersey, there are going to be some Giant fans, you're going to love Brian Daboll, and he's got to put together a great staff. And they're not going to be boring on offense. They're actually going to be fun. If those guys who were hurt last year at receiver could stay healthy, look out. They're going to at least be able to score. And don't forget, Wink Martindale, one of the best defensive schemers. He's their new defensive coordinator coming from Baltimore. So they're certainly going to be fun to watch. I don't know how good they're going to be, but they're going to be fun to watch.
They have a lot of talent on offense, Adam. I feel like if this team could just stay healthy with some of these guys, you could have a ton of weapons, not just for the Giants, but, there's fantasy football fans out there.
Yeah, no question. Oh, Wan'Dale Robinson was great last week. Keep an eye on him late in your drafts, particularly if you're in a keeper dynasty league. So, the Giants are going to be fun, as the NFC East is. I'll be with Washington, I believe, on Saturday if the weather holds up. And that's another team that should be improved.
You mentioned Washington. Let's go right up the road there. The Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, no contract extension yet, but he is there and practicing.
Yeah, good for him because here Derwin James is having a hold-in where his agent's negotiating with the team, and he's not going to practice fully. He hasn't practiced yet. He's doing a conditioning drills. He won't practice until he gets his deal, but the Chargers don't seem worried about it. The fact of the matter is, Josh, when you look at Baltimore, Lamar Jackson's in camp. He's not doing a hold-in. He doesn't have an agent, by the way, but he's practicing. He was phenomenal last Saturday night. I was at their practice at M&T Stadium. He was, just on point and pinpoint throws, and he throws a beautiful ball, by the way. I know they don't throw it that much. When he does, he throws a nice ball, and let's not forget, this is his 5th year. Very talented kid. Being able to throw the ball well has never been a problem for him. It's just how much they're going to throw, and that's the one thing. We know they're going to be a run-based offense, but will they give him a little bit more of the passing game this season? That's going to be the question.
Yeah, no Marquise Brown. He got traded to the Cardinals.
Yep.
We know about Mark Andrews. They drafted Rashad Bateman a couple of years ago. So with J.K. Dobbins coming off an injury, is this going to go back to a heavy running team again?
Well, but again, Lamar Jackson's a big part of the run game, and they have Mike Davis, who's journeyman power back, who fits their scheme well. Oh, yeah, they'll be running the ball. That's going to be their focus. But the only question is, how much more of the pass game will they give Jackson? More concepts? Will he throw 2 to 4, 5 times more per game? That's something to be seen.
Yeah, Greg Roman's got an interesting task on his hands down there in Baltimore.
Atlantic City's own Greg Roman.
Yep. Let's finish off with the Rams, Adam, before I let you go. Team won the Super Bowl, and most of that team is coming back. So what are the expectations for them in year 2 with Stafford? Good. Very good. In fact, I was talking to someone in the high up in the front office about that yesterday. They feel good about their roster, but the two concerns, and these are concerns, Matthew Stafford's right out elbow, they knew there was an issue there, but Sean McVay, the head coach, confirmed yesterday that he's got pain there. He did work yesterday's practice, and they backed off. I sensed talking to people privately, it's a wait and see. They're not questioning whether he'll be ready for the start of the regular season. It's how much can he work leading up to the start of the regular season. And by the way, they play the Bills in week 1. Holy smokes, that'll be a great game. But the other one is Van Jefferson, who was going to have surgery today, and I'm told it's his knee locked up. I'm told when he a couple days ago his knee locked up on him. And it's unfortunate because they were thinking he would have a breakout season as their number 3 receiver. So that's a problem for them because they have very little depth now behind the 2 starters. Allen Robinson, who's new, who signed for $15 million a year, and of course the great Cooper Kupp. He is Adam Caplan, NFL Insider. Follow him on Twitter at Caplan NFL. All your Eagles training camp coverage over at InsideTheBirds.com. And Adam will continue his training camp tour. He's talked about it here on Football at 4 here on 97.3 ESPN. Adam, safe travels back home. Thank you.